Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Native Flow English. I'm Sarah, and I'm your host for today's session. If you're just joining us, I want you to know that we upload a brand new English learning video every single day. Our goal is to help you improve your English faster and become more confident in your abilities. In today's episode, you're going to work on both your English listening comprehension and your speaking skills. This lesson is like a complete advanced English fluency masterclass, designed to help you speak English more clearly, confidently, and naturally in just 30 days. We'll be diving into real-life practice scenarios and some guided exercises. These will help you really understand natural English, improve the flow of your sentences, and pick up some great expressions that'll make your speech sound fluent and effortless. Whether you're introducing yourself to someone, having casual chats, or explaining your ideas with detail, you'll learn precisely how to think in English and speak without any hesitation. By the time you're done with this video, you're going to feel a lot more confident in every conversation you have. Plus, you'll have a step-by-step plan that you can follow every day for the next month to really see some noticeable results in your fluency. Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our super helpful English learning lessons. So go grab a pen and some paper, and let's get started. When you start thinking about speaking English fluently in just 30 days, it can definitely seem like a pretty big challenge. It might even feel like something only super advanced learners can achieve. But the truth is, fluency isn't really about memorizing thousands of new words in a short amount of time. It's more about using the words you already know in the right way, with the right rhythm, and with the right amount of confidence. Today, I'm going to take you through it step by step so you can train your brain, your mouth, and your ears to all work together every single day for the next month. You'll be really surprised at just how much progress you can actually make. Let's kick things off with something that's super important. A lot of learners think that fluency means speaking really fast, but that's just not the case. Fluency is more about speaking smoothly, without those long pauses, without struggling to find the right words, and about being able to express your thoughts clearly, even if you're speaking at a bit of a slower pace. So in this masterclass, we're going to really focus on clarity, flow, and confidence, not on speed. Speed is something that'll come naturally as you become more and more comfortable. Now, I want you to picture a really simple daily routine that we can use for practice. You wake up in the morning, you make your bed, you make yourself some breakfast. You get ready to start your day. These kinds of moments might seem pretty ordinary, but they're actually perfect for practicing your English in real time. Instead of just doing these actions silently, try speaking to yourself in English. For instance, when you're pouring your coffee, you could say something like, "I'm pouring my coffee into the cup. It smells so fresh and warm. It might seem overly simple, but speaking about what you're actually doing in the moment is a great way to train your brain to instantly connect actions with English words. Let's give it a try together. I'm going to say a sentence, and I want you to repeat it right after me. Ready? I am brushing my teeth again. I am brushing my teeth. Now, let's try it a little bit faster. I'm brushing my teeth. Do you hear the slight difference in the rhythm? This is how we start to move from slow, clear English to more natural, connected speech. Every day, I want you to pick at least 5 simple actions and describe them out loud in English as you're doing them. Another key to really nailing fluency in 30 days is getting in some daily listening practice. But here's a little secret. You should be listening actively, not passively. What I mean by that is, instead of just hearing the words, really try to focus on the pronunciation, the intonation, and even the little pauses. For example, if I were to say, "Could you pass me the salt, please?" Listen to how my voice kind of rises on "could you," and then falls gently at the very end. Now, you repeat it. "Could you pass me the salt, please?" Good job. The more you start to notice these kinds of patterns, the easier it's going to be for you to sound natural when you're speaking. We're also going to be working on shadowing, which basically means listening to a sentence in English and then repeating it immediately, trying to match the tone, the speed, and the pronunciation as closely as you possibly can. Let's do a quick shadowing practice session. I'm going to say the sentence once slowly, then at a normal speed, and I want you to follow along. I'm going to the store to buy some bread. Slowly now. I am going to the store to buy some bread. And now, normally. I'm going to the store to buy some bread. This exercise really trains your mouth to copy natural English sounds. And it's seriously one of the fastest ways to build up your fluency. Here's your first little challenge for today. For the next hour, I want you to try to think in English as much as you can. When you're looking around, name the objects that you see. When you're planning your next task, say it in English, either in your mind or out loud if you can. It's totally fine if your sentences are short. The goal here is to keep that English channel in your brain open so that it starts to become your default language throughout the day. And just remember, mistakes aren't your enemy here. Actually, they're your best teachers. The only way to completely avoid making mistakes is to stay totally silent. But being silent is never going to make you fluent. Every time you speak up, you're giving yourself an opportunity to improve. So in these next 30 days, speak as much as you possibly can. Even if you're not 100% sure about something. Just remember that your confidence is going to grow when you practice without being afraid. Let's do one more little speaking drill together before we move on. I'm going to give you a short conversation. I want you to repeat after me, keeping the same tone and speed. Hi, how are you today? I'm doing well, thank you. And you? I'm great. Thanks for asking. This type of short, friendly exchange is really the foundation of natural conversation. And the more you practice it, the more automatic it's going to become. Now, let's take your practice a little bit deeper. Speaking fluently isn't just about reacting in the moment. It's also about being prepared ahead of time. And one of the best ways to prepare is by having ready-to-use sentences already in your mind. These are sentences that you've practiced so many times that they just roll right off your tongue without you even really thinking about it. For example, can you help me with this? Or, I'm not sure. Could you explain that again? If you practice these kinds of ready-made sentences every day, you'll find that in real conversations, you're able to respond a lot faster and with a lot more confidence. Let's try a small set together. Repeat after me. Could you tell me how to get there? Again. Could you tell me how to get there? Now, a little bit faster and more naturally. Could you tell me how to get there? Good. Now, another one. I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? Repeat. I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? Now, faster. I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? When you train with these kinds of patterns, you're really building up a muscle memory for speaking. It's just like how athletes train their bodies to move automatically. You're training your mouth to speak English without any delay. The next thing that we're going to focus on is describing things around you. This is actually a really powerful habit because it forces your brain to connect real objects and situations with English words in real time. For example, if you're standing at a bus stop, you might say to yourself, "There's a blue bus coming down the street. It's stopping to pick up passengers." People are getting on and off quickly. By doing this, you're getting in some practice with observation, vocabulary, and sentence building all at the same time. Let's do a guided description exercise together. I'm going to describe something, and you repeat it. Imagine that you're in your kitchen. There's a kettle sitting on the stove. The water is boiling. Steam is rising up from the spout. I can even hear the sound of bubbles. Now, I want you to think about your own kitchen. Look around and describe 3 objects that you see. You can say "there is," or "I see," or "I'm looking at." Say them out loud if you can. Another way to really speed up your fluency in 30 days is to connect any new vocabulary with something personal. This way, you're going to remember it a lot faster, and you'll also use it a lot more often. For instance, if you learn the word delighted, don't just think about the dictionary definition. Connect it to a memory. Maybe think about the time you got a surprise gift. You could say something like, "I was delighted when I opened the package and saw the book I'd been wanting for months." Personal connections are what really makes words stick in your long-term memory. Now, let's practice combining some old words with some new ones. Suppose you already know the word happy, and then you learn the word thrilled. You can practice by saying, "I was happy to see my friend," and then, "I was thrilled to see my friend." Do you feel how the emotion kind of changes? When you do this kind of variation practice every day, your vocabulary is going to grow naturally, and you'll start using richer, more expressive English. One of the most effective habits to adopt right now is to practice speaking for 1 full minute without stopping. It really doesn't matter what the topic is. The whole goal here is to keep going, even if you happen to make small mistakes along the way. For example, pick a topic like my favorite food and then talk about it for 60 seconds. You might say, my favorite food is pasta. I like it because it's warm, filling, and you can add so many different sauces to it. My favorite sauce is tomato sauce with fresh herbs. I remember when I was a kid, my mother used to make pasta every Sunday. By really pushing yourself to keep talking, you're training your brain to keep finding the right words and not just freeze mid-sentence. Let's try this out together. I'm going to give you a topic, and I want you to speak for 1 minute. Your topic is the last time that you went shopping. Start with when you went, where you went, what you bought, and how you felt. Remember, just keep going. Even if you repeat a few words here and there, repetition is still way better than just being silent. Finally, for this section, I really want you to remember that fluency is a daily journey, not just some single moment of achievement. Every day that you speak, you're building stronger connections in your brain. Every single sentence that you say out loud is 1 step closer to thinking in English naturally. And the next 30 days are really going to be your training ground. So commit to showing up every single day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. You're really going to be amazed at what can happen in just 1 month. Let's now focus on one of the most underestimated skills when it comes to fluency: transitions. Transitions are those little bridges that connect all of your ideas. They're what make your speech sound smooth and connected. Without them, your sentences can really feel like just separate blocks. And that's what makes conversations sound a lot less natural. Words like so, actually, by the way, in fact, you know, and well are all pretty small, but they're actually really powerful. They help your listener follow your thoughts more easily, and they also give you just a brief moment to think without creating an awkward silence. Let's practice. I'm going to give you 2 short sentences, and I want you to connect them with a transition. I enjoy reading. It helps me relax. You could say, I enjoy reading because it helps me relax. Or, I enjoy reading, and it helps me relax. Do you notice how the sentences just flow a lot better? Now, here's another example. I was tired. I kept working. You can join them with even though I was tired, I kept working. Practicing these kinds of links is really going to make your speech sound more natural and also more intelligent. Here's a quick exercise that you can do every day. Take any 5 random sentences and then practice connecting them with different transitions. For example, I need to buy milk. I want to visit my friend. You could say, I need to buy milk, and after that, I want to visit my friend. Or, I need to buy milk, but I also want to visit my friend. The more you experiment with these connectors, the more flexible and fluent you're going to become. Another essential part of your 30-day journey is going to be controlling your tone. Tone is really the music of your speech. It's what tells people whether you're excited, calm, curious, or even serious. Even if your grammar is perfect, speaking in just a flat tone can make you sound a lot less confident. For example, try saying this sentence in a flat way. That's a great idea. Now, say it with some enthusiasm. That's a great idea. You can really hear the difference instantly, right? This is exactly why we're going to include some tone practice in your daily routine. Let's do it right now. Repeat after me with some energy. I'm so happy to see you again. I'm so happy to see you. Now, try it with a calm tone. I'm so happy to see you. See how the tone can really change the feeling? In real life, adjusting your tone helps your listener feel way more connected to you. Fluency also really depends on how you deal with words that you don't know. If you can't remember a specific word, don't just freeze up. Instead, use a simpler word or try to explain it in a different way. For example, if you forget the word microwave, you could say, the machine that heats food up quickly. This technique is called circumlocution, and it's seriously a lifesaver for keeping conversations moving smoothly. Let's practice. Imagine you can't remember the word wallet. How would you describe it? You could say, it's a small case where I keep my money and my cards. See, you were able to communicate the idea without actually needing the exact word. Practicing this skill is going to make you feel a lot more fearless in conversations because you'll always have a way to express yourself. Now, we're going to work on your reaction time. In natural conversations, people expect you to reply fairly quickly, not after a really long pause. So, I'm going to ask you some pretty simple questions, and I just want you to answer them instantly, even if your answer is short. Ready? What's your favorite drink? Say your answer out loud. Where did you last go on holiday? Say it now. What's one thing that you really enjoy doing in your free time? Good. The more you train yourself to give quick responses, the less you're going to overthink things when you're speaking to real people. And here's a really important mindset shift. Every conversation is practice. Whether you're talking to a friend, a colleague, or even just to yourself. Every single moment that you spend speaking English is going to count toward your overall fluency. Don't wait around for the perfect moment to practice. It's happening right now. The grocery store cashier, your neighbor, the person you happen to sit next to on the bus. All of these are really chances for you to train your fluency in real-life situations. For the rest of today, I want you to really focus on just one goal. Whenever you have an opportunity to speak English, take it. Even if it's just a simple greeting or a short exchange. Build up these little small wins because they're going to stack up really quickly over these next 30 days. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful habits that you can develop during these 30 days. daily topic immersion. This basically means that you pick one topic for the day and then just surround yourself with English that's related to that topic. You read about it. You watch something about it. You talk about it. You can even write about it. For example, if your topic is travel, you can read a short article about travel tips. Watch a short video about some popular destinations, and then speak for just a few minutes about some of your own travel experiences. Immersion like this is going to keep your brain super focused, and it's going to make learning just feel more purposeful instead of just totally random. Let's do a quick practice together. Today's mini topic is going to be food. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to answer them out loud. What is your favorite dish, and why do you like it so much? How often do you eat it? Can you describe what the taste and texture are like? To make this habit even more effective, keep a small notebook or a notes app right on your phone. When you hear or read a new word that's connected to your daily topic, write it down. Then, at least 3 times during the day, try to use that new word in a sentence. For example, if the new word is crispy, you might say, "The fries are crispy on the outside, but soft on the inside." Or, "I like my toast to be crispy in the morning." This kind of repetition is what really cements the word in your active vocabulary. Another really powerful skill for fluency is storytelling. People absolutely love stories. And when you're able to tell a story in English, you not only hold people's attention, but you also get to practice structuring your thoughts in a really clear way. Start small. Tell short stories about real events that have happened in your life. For example, yesterday, I was walking to the store when I saw a beautiful rainbow. It was so bright and colorful that I had to stop and take a picture of it. A little girl standing next to me pointed at it and smiled. This simple story uses the past tense, description, and sequencing, all of which are essential for fluency. Let's practice building a story together. I'm going to start, and then you continue. Last weekend, I went to a park near my house. Now add what you did there, who you were with, and how you felt. Remember, use some details like colors, sounds, and feelings. This is what's going to make your story more vivid and memorable. Speaking of details, one of the reasons that some learners struggle with fluency is because they often speak in very short, basic sentences. For example, I went to the market, I bought fruit. It was good. While this is all technically correct, it's not very engaging. You can really expand on it by adding some details. I went to the market early in the morning because I wanted to buy some fresh fruit. The air was cool, and the smell of ripe strawberries filled all the stalls. I ended up buying a whole basket of strawberries, some sweet mangoes, and a bunch of bananas. Adding details not only improves your fluency, but it also helps you practice more vocabulary and different sentence structures. Here's a daily exercise that you can do. Pick one thing that you did today, and then describe it in 3 different ways: simple, detailed, and emotional. For example, simple. I went for a walk. Detailed. I went for a walk around the neighborhood this morning and saw flowers blooming. And then emotional. I went for a peaceful walk this morning, and seeing all of the bright flowers made me feel calm and happy. This is really going to train you to express the same idea at different levels of richness. Finally, for this section, just remember to celebrate those small improvements. You might not really notice them day by day, but they are definitely happening. That moment when you're able to respond without needing to translate in your head. The first time you understand a fast sentence without needing to replay it. The time you tell a story and the other person actually smiles. These are all clear signs that your fluency is growing, and each one is really worth noticing. Now, let's focus on training both your listening and speaking skills together. Many learners kind of separate these two things. But when you combine them, your fluency is going to grow a lot faster. One way to do this is through echo practice. This is basically when you listen to someone speaking in English, and as soon as they finish a short sentence, you repeat it in your own voice, really trying to copy their tone and their rhythm. It's pretty similar to shadowing, but you've got that slight pause in there so that you can process it and then speak. This small gap gives you a chance to think about the words and the structure before you actually repeat it. Let's try a short echo drill right now. I'm going to say a sentence, then I'm going to pause, and then you repeat it. Exactly. I'm learning new phrases every day. Now you. I enjoy practicing English in the morning. Now you. I'm becoming more confident with my speaking skills. Now you. Doing this for just 5 minutes a day can really make a huge difference in your pronunciation and your overall confidence. Another useful habit is practicing what's called question switching. This is when you take a question that someone asks you. You answer it, and then you switch it right back to them. It really keeps the conversation flowing, and it also gives you more chances to speak. For example, if someone asks you, "How was your weekend?" you can say, "It was great, thank you. How was yours?" This not only shows that you're interested, but it also doubles your speaking practice in the same conversation. Let's do a quick practice round. I'll be the other person. What do you usually have for breakfast? You answer, and then ask me the same question. When was the last time you traveled? You answer, then ask me. What's your favorite hobby? Again, answer, and then ask me. The more you do this, the more natural it's going to feel to keep a conversation alive. Fluency also grows when you practice reaction phrases, short, automatic responses that you can use without even really thinking. These include phrases like, "Really? That's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Exactly. I see what you mean." Using these is going to make you sound more engaged, and it's going to help you fill in some gaps while you're trying to think of your next idea. Try repeating after me with a natural tone. "Really? That's interesting. I see what you mean." Exactly. Now, imagine someone just told you, "I just learned how to cook pasta." You could reply instantly, "Really? That's great." These small reactions are what make your English sound alive, not robotic. We also really need to work on paraphrasing, saying the same idea, but in a different way. This is honestly like a superpower for fluency because it means that you can keep speaking even if you happen to forget an exact word or phrase. For example, if someone says, "I had a tough day at work," you could respond, "So it was a bit stressful for you today," or "It sounds like your day was challenging." By practicing paraphrasing, you're really learning to say more with the vocabulary that you already know. Here's a little exercise. I'm going to give you a sentence, and I want you to try to say it in a different way. I'm very tired. You could say, I feel exhausted. I'm worn out. I don't have much energy left. Now, another one. The movie was good. You could say, I really enjoyed the movie. It was entertaining. It was definitely worth watching. See how many different options you can come up with for each idea. And finally, for this section, let's work on describing feelings and opinions. When you speak about how you feel, it creates a deeper connection in the conversation. Instead of just saying, I like it, try saying why. For example, I like this cafe because the atmosphere is so relaxing, and the coffee always tastes so fresh. Adding those reasons is going to make your sentences longer and richer, giving you even more speaking practice. One of the most effective ways to strengthen your fluency is to practice speaking in different time frames. Being able to talk naturally about the past, the present, and the future is really going to make you more versatile in any conversation. For the past, you can use examples like, yesterday, I went to the park and met an old friend. For the present, you could say, I'm sitting at my desk right now listening to music. For the future, you might say, tomorrow, I'm going to visit my cousin in another city. Switching back and forth between these quickly is a really great brain workout. Let's try it out together. I'm going to give you an action, and I want you to say it in all 3 tenses. Cook dinner. In the past, I cooked dinner last night. In the present, I'm cooking dinner right now. In the future, I'm going to cook dinner tomorrow evening. This type of drill is going to keep your grammar flexible and ready for any situation. Another area that you should really focus on is expanding short answers into full sentences. When someone asks you, do you like reading? You could just say yes, but that pretty much ends the conversation. Instead, you could say, yes, I really like reading because it helps me to relax and also to learn new things. The more you practice adding reasons, details, and examples to your answers, the more naturally you're going to be able to speak for longer periods of time. Here's an exercise for you. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer with at least 2 extra details. Do you enjoy cooking? Have you ever traveled abroad? What kind of music do you like? Take a moment to think about it. But don't pause for too long. Just let your ideas flow, even if you happen to make some small mistakes along the way. Another really important skill for these 30 days is learning how to self-correct without breaking your flow. If you make a mistake, simply repeat the sentence correctly and then keep going. For example, if you say, "She go to the market yesterday," you can quickly correct yourself by saying, "She went to the market yesterday." This demonstrates that you're aware of the grammar rules, but you don't interrupt the flow of the conversation to correct it. The more you practice this technique, the smoother your speech will become. To help with this, try a quick correction drill. Speak for 1 minute about any topic that comes to mind. And whenever you catch yourself making a mistake, immediately repeat the sentence correctly. You might be pleasantly surprised at how quickly your brain starts to recognize and automatically correct errors. Another beneficial habit to cultivate is speaking with emotion and personal connection. Consider how you would recount a story to a close friend. You wouldn't simply list a series of dry facts. Instead, you would incorporate your feelings, reactions, and small, interesting details that make the story come alive. For instance, you might say, "I went to the park, and the sun was shining so brightly. I felt so happy just sitting on the grass, watching the birds fly around." This kind of engaging storytelling makes your English more memorable and captivating for your listener. Finally, make a conscious effort to challenge yourself to speak for longer periods every few days. If you can speak for 1 minute today, aim to extend it to 2 minutes next week, and then 3 minutes the following week. It's perfectly okay if it's not perfect. The primary goal is to push the boundaries of your comfort zone gradually. By the end of 30 days, you'll likely find that speaking for 5 minutes in English feels completely natural, and that's a significant leap toward fluency. One habit that will noticeably accelerate your progress during these 30 days is thinking aloud in English. This means verbalizing your thoughts as they occur to you, almost like narrating your day to yourself. For example, if you're walking to the store, you could say, "I'm walking down the street now. The weather is quite warm today. I can smell fresh bread coming from the bakery on the corner." This activity trains your brain to construct sentences in real time without first translating them from your native language. If you're in a public setting and can't speak aloud, you can still practice thinking in English silently. Describe what you observe around you, what you are feeling, or what you plan to do next. For instance, you might think, "After I finish this, I am going to call my friend. Then, I need to buy some vegetables for dinner. I should probably check my emails before lunch." Over time, consistently practicing this habit will gradually make English your default mode of thinking. Another remarkably effective exercise is what I like to call expand and extend. This involves taking a simple sentence and progressively adding more detail to it. For example, begin with the basic statement, "I like coffee." Then expand upon it by saying, "I like coffee because it helps me wake up in the morning." And extend it even further by adding, "I like coffee because it helps me wake up in the morning, And I really enjoy the rich aroma that fills the kitchen as it brews. By deliberately stretching your sentences in this way, you'll naturally train yourself to speak for longer periods without noticeable pauses. Let's try a few more of these together. Start with the simple sentence. I enjoy music. Now, expand it. I enjoy music because it helps me relax. And now, extend it. I enjoy music because it helps me relax after a long day at work. And it often reminds me of happy times I've shared with friends. This practice is quite straightforward, but if you incorporate it into your daily routine, your fluency will increase significantly. It's also important to pay attention to how native English speakers use fillers in their speech. Fillers are those little words or sounds like, well, you know, I mean, and actually. They give you a brief moment to gather your thoughts without creating an awkward silence. For example, well, I think we should probably get started now. Or, you know, that movie was actually much better than I expected. Or even, actually, I've never really tried that before. These fillers can make your speech sound more natural and conversational. However, remember that it's important not to overuse them. Let's do a little filler practice. I'll say a sentence, and I want you to repeat it, adding a filler at the beginning. It's raining today. Add well at the start. Now, I like reading books. Add you know at the beginning. And finally, I don't really have time for that. Add actually to the start. Practicing this will help you seamlessly insert fillers when you need a moment to think. Another technique that can help you sound more confident when speaking is to practice varying the length of your sentences. If every sentence you speak is very short, your speech can sound a bit choppy or disjointed. Conversely, if every sentence is extremely long and complex, it can become confusing and difficult for the listener to follow. The key is to find a good balance. For example, start with I love traveling, short. Then expand on it with I love traveling because it gives me the chance to explore new cultures, meet interesting people, and experience different kinds of foods. Long. This natural variation will keep your listener engaged. And here's a challenge for you today. Record yourself speaking about any topic that interests you for approximately 2 minutes. When you listen back to the recording, pay close attention to your pauses, your tone of voice, and your speaking speed. Note whether you're using fillers appropriately, whether you're speaking in complete sentences, and whether you sound genuinely engaged in the topic. Then, record yourself speaking about the same topic again, making a conscious effort to improve on just one specific aspect of your speech. This kind of self-evaluation and feedback will make you much more aware of your speaking habits and help you change them more quickly and effectively. A great way to really accelerate your journey to fluency is to practice role-playing different situations. Role-playing allows you to visualize realistic, everyday conversations and prepare for them in advance. You could act out a job interview, placing an order at a restaurant, engaging in small talk, or even making a phone call. For example, if you're practicing ordering food, you might say, "Good evening. I'd like to order the grilled chicken with vegetables, please." Then, imagine the waiter asking, "Would you like anything to drink with that?" And you could respond, "Yes, I'll have a glass of water. Please, thank you." By practicing these kinds of scenarios, you'll naturally feel more prepared and confident when they actually occur in real life. Let's try a quick one right now. Imagine that you're at the airport check-in counter. The agent says to you, "May I see your passport, please?" You reply, "Yes, here it is." Then the agent says, "Would you prefer a window seat or an aisle seat?" And you answer, "I'd like a window seat, please." The more you practice these everyday exchanges, the more automatic and natural your responses will become. Another important area to focus on is asking follow-up questions. Many English language learners tend to only answer questions directly, but they don't actively try to keep the conversation going. If someone says to you, "I went to the beach last weekend," instead of just saying, "Oh, that's nice," you could respond with genuine curiosity, like, "Oh, really? Which beach did you go to?" Or, "That sounds nice. Was the weather good?" Follow-up questions not only provide you with more opportunities for speaking practice, but they also make you sound more friendly, interested, and engaged in the conversation. To really train this habit, try taking any sentence that you hear and thinking of at least 2 relevant questions that you could ask about it. For example, if someone says, "I bought a new phone," you could ask, "Oh, what kind of phone is it? And why did you choose that particular model?" Doing this regularly will make your conversations much more dynamic and engaging. Fluency is also closely tied to rhythm, the natural flow and cadence of your words. English has a distinct pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. Practicing with rhythm will make your speech sound smoother and easier for others to understand. For example, say this sentence out loud, "I'm going to the store to buy some milk." Notice how certain words are emphasized or stressed. Going, store, buy, and milk. Now, try repeating the sentence while maintaining the same emphasis on those key words. Here's another rhythm drill for you. She's working on a big project at the office. Notice the stress on working, big, project, and office. Concentrating on this will help you speak with a natural English cadence instead of sounding too flat or robotic. It's also important to learn how to politely pause when you need a moment to gather your thoughts. Instead of simply falling silent, you can use filler phrases like, "That's a good question. Let me think for a moment." Or, "Well, I suppose..." These small expressions buy you a bit of time and help keep the conversation flowing naturally. Let's practice using those polite pause phrases. I'm going to ask you a question, and before you answer, I want you to use one of these phrases. What is your favorite vacation destination? You could start by saying, "That's a good question. I think my favorite vacation destination is..." This sounds confident and gives you a moment to organize your thoughts before answering. Finally, remember that speaking fluently isn't about achieving perfection. It's about being easily understood and feeling comfortable expressing yourself. Even native English speakers occasionally make small grammatical errors, repeat themselves, or change words mid-sentence. What truly matters is that you keep going and don't let these minor hiccups derail your conversation. Over the next few days, challenge yourself to speak without constantly worrying about grammar rules. Focus primarily on effectively communicating your message. The accuracy will naturally improve with more consistent practice. One technique that will help you sound more natural and authentic is mirroring. Mirroring involves consciously copying not only the words that someone uses, but also their body language, their tone of voice, and the pace at which they speak. Of course, if you're practicing alone, you can mirror what you hear in videos or audio clips. For example, if you're listening to someone say, "I can't believe it's already Friday," try to repeat it using the same speed, pitch, and general style. This makes your English feel much more authentic and alive because you're actively learning and incorporating the small, natural patterns that native English speakers commonly use. Let's try a few quick examples. I'll say each phrase naturally, and then you can repeat it, trying to match my intonation and style as closely as possible. That sounds absolutely amazing. I honestly didn't expect that at all. I'm so excited for tomorrow. Try to mimic not only the pronunciation, but also the emotional tone behind the words. Another valuable habit to develop is being able to smoothly switch between formal and informal speech, depending on the specific situation. In a casual conversation with friends, you might say something like, "Hey, what's up?" In a more formal or professional setting, you could say, "Good morning. How are you doing today?" Being able to comfortably adjust your style shows that you're adaptable and aware of the particular context of the conversation. Here's a quick practice to illustrate the difference. Informal, "I'm gonna grab a coffee." Formal, "I'm going to get a coffee." Informal, "Want to hang out later?" Formal, "Would you like to meet up later?" Practicing switching like this will help you feel prepared for pretty much any type of conversation you might encounter. Another great way to accelerate your fluency is to train your brain to fully answer both why and how questions. Many learners tend to give relatively brief or incomplete answers to these types of questions. If someone asks you, "Why do you like living here?" instead of simply saying, "I like living here because the weather is nice," you could elaborate by saying, "I like living here because the weather is generally pleasant, and there are plenty of parks and green spaces where I can walk and relax." Or if someone asks you, "How do you usually spend your weekends?" instead of just saying, "I usually spend my weekends relaxing," you could expand by saying, I usually spend my weekends reading, going for walks, and meeting up with friends for coffee or a meal. By adding more than one detail to your answer, you're naturally speaking for a longer period and giving your listener more points to connect with. We should also talk briefly about the importance of pronunciation drills. Dedicate a few minutes each day to specifically focus on sounds that you find particularly challenging or difficult. For example, the sh sound in words like think or this. For think, gently place your tongue between your teeth and push air out. For this, your tongue touches the same position, but you engage your vocal cords to produce a voiced sound. Practicing these small, often subtle sounds will make your speech clearer and easier for others to understand. Let's try a quick pronunciation drill right now. Just repeat after me. Think, thought, through, now, this, that, these. Next, the tricky one. Thin things. Practice these words slowly at first, and then gradually increase your speed as you become more comfortable, until it feels completely natural. And remember, fluency naturally grows when you combine speaking with active listening. When you're listening to someone speak English, pay close attention to the specific phrases that they use, and then consciously try to incorporate those phrases into your own conversations. If you hear someone say, "I've been meaning to try that," write it down somewhere and make a deliberate effort to practice saying it yourself later. This habit will constantly refresh your vocabulary with real, modern, everyday English. To bring this section to a close, I want you to set a small, achievable goal for yourself for today. Choose just one phrase that you've learned here and consciously try to use it at least 3 times, either in real-life conversations or in your own speaking practice. In this way, it will become a part of your active English vocabulary rather than just something that you recognize when you happen to hear it. One of the most valuable skills for reaching fluency quickly is the ability to describe things from memory. When you actively recall and describe an experience that you've had, you strengthen your capacity to organize your thoughts and ideas in English without relying on direct translation from your native language. Start with relatively simple events, such as a conversation you had, a meal you ate, or a place you visited, and then tell the story in as much detail as possible. For example, you could say, "Last Sunday, I went to my favorite cafe. I ordered a cappuccino and a slice of chocolate cake. The cafe was quite busy, and the sound of people chatting created a warm and friendly atmosphere. I sat by the window and watched the rain falling outside." This kind of mental replay is a perfect way to combine vocabulary, grammar, and storytelling skills into one effective exercise. You can also challenge yourself further by describing the same memory in different ways. First, try to keep it short and simple. Then, add more descriptive details. And finally, incorporate your feelings and opinions about the experience. This will train your flexibility in expressing your ideas in varied ways. For example, I went to the cafe. Then, I went to the cafe on Sunday morning and had coffee. And finally, I went to the cafe on Sunday morning, enjoyed a warm cappuccino, and felt completely relaxed while watching the rain outside. Doing this type of exercise every day will make your thoughts flow much more easily and naturally in English. Another beneficial habit to develop is the practice of making comparisons. This involves talking about the similarities and differences between two different things. For example, tea and coffee are both popular drinks, but tea generally has a lighter flavor, while coffee tends to be stronger and more bitter. Comparisons not only help you practice using adjectives and sentence structure, but they also provide you with more material to talk about, which helps you extend your speaking time. Let's try a quick comparison drill right now. Compare summer and winter. Summer is warm and sunny, and people tend to spend more time outdoors, while winter is cold and often snowy, and people usually stay indoors more often. Now, compare books and movies. Books allow you to use your imagination to visualize the scenes and characters, while movies show you the story visually, with all the details already created for you. You can do this with almost anything: food, cities, hobbies, and even people's personalities. It's also helpful to practice giving clear and concise explanations. When someone asks you a question, try to explain your answer instead of simply stating it. For example, if you're asked, "Do you like swimming?" instead of just saying yes, you could say, "Yes, I enjoy swimming because it helps me stay fit. And I enjoy being in the water, especially in the summertime." Aiding explanations makes your speaking much richer and more engaging for the listener. And when you're explaining something, don't be afraid to use specific examples to illustrate your points. For instance, I think learning English through movies can be really effective because you get to hear real, everyday conversations. For example, I learned the phrase, "take your time," from a film, and now I use it regularly in my daily life. Examples give your listener a clearer understanding of what you mean, and they make your point significantly stronger. Another great way to boost your overall fluency is to play the "what if" game. Ask yourself hypothetical questions and then answer them out loud. For example, what if I won the lottery? If I won the lottery, I would travel the world, buy a house by the beach, and help my family financially. These kinds of imaginary situations encourage you to think creatively in English and use a variety of tenses and sentence structures. Finally, always remember that the key to speaking fluently in 30 days is consistent, focused practice. You don't necessarily need to spend hours practicing every day. Even dedicating just 20 to 30 minutes to concentrated speaking, listening, and thinking in English can lead to huge improvements. The more you integrate English into your everyday life, the faster it will feel like a natural and integral part of you. Another simple but powerful practice you can add to your routine is to retell something that you've heard or read in your own words. This could be a short news story, a conversation that you listen to, or even a scene from a movie. When you retell something, you're actively processing the information, reorganizing it in your mind, and expressing it using your own unique vocabulary. For example, if you read a short article about healthy eating habits, you could say, "The article talked about the numerous benefits of eating fresh fruits and vegetables every day. It explained that they provide you with energy, help your body stay strong and healthy, and reduce your risk of developing various illnesses. The article also suggested drinking plenty of water throughout the day. This exercise helps improve both your comprehension and your overall fluency at the same time." You can make it even more challenging by retelling the same information from a different perspective. For example, if the original article was written in the third person, try retelling it in the first person. "I make a conscious effort to eat fresh fruits and vegetables every day because they give me a boost of energy, help me stay strong and healthy, and reduce my overall risk of illness. I also make sure to drink plenty of water." This will add variety to your speaking and force you to adjust your sentences on the spot. A related habit that can be quite beneficial is summarizing your day before you go to sleep each night. You can say something like, "This morning, I woke up early, made breakfast, and went for a walk in the park. In the afternoon, I worked on my project and made a few important phone calls. In the evening, I relaxed with a book before having dinner." This not only establishes a daily speaking routine, but it also helps you remember and use vocabulary related to everyday activities. Another effective drill is opinion building. Choose a random topic that you find interesting, and then speak for 1 minute, sharing your opinion on that topic and providing clear and logical reasons for your viewpoint. For example, "I firmly believe that people should make an effort to read more books because reading improves focus and concentration, teaches you new information, and exercises your mind. In my opinion, it's much better than spending excessive amounts of time scrolling through social media." Practicing this regularly will help you develop quick, confident responses to open-ended questions. It's also helpful to combine opinion building with debate practice. Imagine that someone strongly disagrees with you on a particular topic, and then respond to their disagreement in a polite and respectful manner. For example, if someone says, "I think social media is much better than reading books because it's more interactive and entertaining," you could say, "I understand your point, but I believe that books offer a deeper level of knowledge and concentration that social media simply can't provide." This teaches you to remain calm, express yourself clearly and effectively, and use respectful language, even when you find yourself in disagreement with someone else. You can also practice fluency by describing processes step by step. For example, you could describe how to make a cup of tea. "First, I boil some water in a kettle. Then, I place a tea bag into a cup. When the water is hot, I pour it into the cup and let it steep for a few minutes. After that, I remove the tea bag and add sugar or milk if I desire. Describing a process like this forces you to think in a logical sequence, which is incredibly useful for structured speaking. And never forget the importance of self-motivation. Every single day, remind yourself of the specific reasons why you want to speak English fluently. Maybe it's for better job opportunities, the ability to travel more easily, the chance to study abroad, or the opportunity to make friends from different parts of the world. Keeping that reason firmly in mind will give you the consistent energy and motivation you need to practice. Even when you feel tired or particularly busy. A fantastic way to strengthen your overall fluency is to practice describing images or scenes in detail. You can use photos from a magazine, pictures that you find online, or even things that you see around you in real life. Look at the image closely and talk about everything that you notice. For example, in this picture, there is a family having a picnic in the park. The parents are sitting on a blanket, smiling at each other, while their children are playing with a ball nearby. The sun is shining brightly, and there are several large trees visible in the background. This practice helps you observe details quickly and express them clearly in English. To make it even more challenging, try adding a short story to the image. I think this family came to the park to celebrate a birthday. They probably brought homemade sandwiches and drinks. The children look very happy, perhaps because they don't often get the chance to play outside together. This forces you to use your imagination, which helps you practice a wider range of vocabulary and sentence structures. Another effective practice method is to set a timer and speak non-stop for 2 or 3 minutes. Choose any topic that comes to mind: your weekend plans, your favorite food, or something that you learned recently. The main goal is to keep talking without pausing to translate or search for perfect grammar. If you can't think of the exact word that you want to use, simply use a simpler one or try to explain what you mean. Over time, this exercise will build the important habit of speaking continuously, which is absolutely essential for achieving fluency. You can also improve your speaking skills by practicing with contrasts. Describe 2 different things, and then switch back and forth between the 2 descriptions. For example, in the city, life is generally fast-paced and noisy. People are always in a hurry, and there's traffic everywhere you look. In the countryside, however, life is slower and much quieter. You can often hear birds singing, and people tend to have more time to talk to each other. Switching between these 2 distinct descriptions trains your brain to quickly organize and articulate ideas. An equally important skill to develop is working on your listening memory. Listen to a short conversation and then try to repeat as much as you can remember. For example, if you hear someone say, "I'm going to the store to buy some vegetables. Do you need anything?" You could repeat, "You're going to the store to buy vegetables. And you asked if I needed anything." This improves both your comprehension and your recall abilities, which will enable you to respond more quickly and accurately in conversations. And finally, always remind yourself that fluency grows from consistent effort. It's not about having one long, perfect study session. It's about showing up every single day, speaking, listening, and thinking in English. Even dedicating just 5 or 10 minutes to focused practice each day can make a significant difference over time. In 30 days, you'll look back and realize how much more naturally and confidently you can express yourself. Another valuable technique you can incorporate into your daily routine is time-pressured speaking. This involves giving yourself a limited amount of time to answer a question or talk about a specific topic. For example, set a timer for 30 seconds and answer the question, "What did you do yesterday?" Then, increase the time limit to 1 minute while focusing on the same topic, adding more details and expanding upon your sentences. The time constraint forces you to think quickly, while revisiting the same topic allows you to explore new ideas and expand your vocabulary. You can also combine this with question cycling. Choose 3 different questions, and then answer them one after another without pausing. For example, what is your favorite food? My favorite food is pasta because it's comforting, relatively easy to make, and I can easily change the ingredients to create something new each time. What do you usually do on weekends? On weekends, I like to wake up a bit later than usual, go for a relaxing walk in the park, and meet up with my friends for coffee. Where would you like to travel next? I would absolutely love to visit Japan because of its fascinating culture, delicious food, and incredibly beautiful scenery. Cycling through questions like this provides rapid practice and keeps your mind actively engaged in English. Another powerful drill is story chaining. Start with a simple sentence, and then keep adding details one by one, smoothly linking them together. For example, I went to the park. I went to the park yesterday afternoon. I went to the park yesterday afternoon to meet my friend. I went to the park yesterday afternoon to meet my friend because we hadn't seen each other in several months. This builds your ability to extend ideas naturally, instead of stopping too soon. It's also useful to practice spontaneously describing your surroundings. Wherever you happen to be, take a look around and start talking about what you see, hear, and feel. I'm sitting at my desk right now. There's a cup of tea sitting next to my computer. Outside, I can hear a car driving by. The room feels warm and quiet. Doing this regularly will train you to quickly form sentences about real-life situations, which is precisely what happens in a conversation. Don't forget to incorporate emotional language when you speak. Words like amazing, frustrating, peaceful, and exciting can make your speech much more colorful and engaging. Instead of simply saying, "The view was nice," you could say, "The view was absolutely breathtaking." and it made me feel incredibly peaceful inside. The more you use these kinds of expressive words and phrases, the more engaging your speaking will become for your listeners. To end today's practice, remember that achieving fluency in 30 days comes down to 3 essential components: speaking as much as possible, listening actively, and thinking in English whenever you have the opportunity. Every time you choose to use English over silence or your native language, you're taking a significant step closer to your goal. Keep showing up, keep practicing, and in just 1 month, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Before we wrap up for today, I want you to take a second to really consider just how far you could actually go in 30 days if you dedicated yourself to this learning experience. It's not about being flawless or anything like that. What it's really about is consistently showing up day after day, talking a little bit more, doing a little more listening, and gradually allowing English to integrate into your life in a natural way. Even those seemingly insignificant moments really do matter. Think about ordering food, saying hello to a neighbor, or even just narrating your actions to yourself in English. These little moments compound and turn into solid habits. And ultimately, those habits are what pave the way to fluency. I want to encourage you to start challenging yourself, beginning right now. Today, speak to someone in English, even if it's just a single sentence. Listen to a short clip in English and practice repeating it aloud. Describe something you see around you with as much detail as you can muster. Keep stacking these small actions, one after another, day after day. You will gradually see a real shift. Your confidence will grow. The words will come to you more easily. And you'll find yourself thinking in English more quickly. If you found today's lesson helpful and you're looking for more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss any of the daily English language learning videos designed to guide you step by step on your journey toward fluency. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you'll get a notification each time a new lesson goes live. Thank you for dedicating this time to practice with me today. I am genuinely proud of the hard work and effort you're putting into your English. Keep at it, stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, take care. And remember to keep speaking English every single day.